A Russian frigate and a nuclear-powered submarine pulled into the Havana harbour. As curious onlookers gathered to watch. Cuba, that's been a long-time ally of Russia, welcomed the Russian vessels with cannon fire. There are 4 Russian vessels that arrived in Cuba after conducting training on the use of high-precision missile weapons in the Atlantic Ocean en route to the island. Havana is just 160 kilometers away from Florida, which is home to a US Naval Air Station. The timing is interesting as it comes just as the Biden administration decides on just how far it is willing to go to support Ukraine against Russia. And while the US is closely monitoring its path, analysts say Moscow is sending a message to the US with this seemingly innocuous stopover.
The visiting Russian warships to Cuba are Vladimir Putin's way of reminding President Biden that Moscow can challenge Washington in its own sphere of influence, too. This geopolitical alignment has echoes of the Cold War, but unlike the first Cold War, the Cubans are drawn to Moscow now not by any ideological affinity, but by economic necessity. Cuba is in a desperate economic situation, and Russia is the only country that has been willing to provide significant help, just as it did during the Soviet era.
Far from the diplomatic interpretations of the presence of Russian vessels in the Havana harbor, hundreds of Cubans turned up to get a closer look at them, and many came away impressed.
Fue bien interesante, una cosa diferente, no había tenido la oportunidad de visitar a ninguno de los buques que habían pasado por acá. Muy impresionante el submarino, que se ve solo la parte superficial, el barco muy impresionante también.
Este tipo de barco da muy buena impresión, está muy cuidado por dentro. También el recorrido te enseñan la estructura que tiene el barco por dentro, los tipos de armas que puede traer los modelos de este tipo de fragata, que es una fragata el barco, y todo muy lindo.
Havana and Moscow have started strengthening ties once again. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel visited Putin for the 4th time in May, when he attended a military parade, wished Russian forces well in Ukraine and said Moscow could always count on Havana's support.